Starting now, this is Real People. Real issues. Real news. Real people.
I'm Stephanie Allensworth, and this is Real People.
This is Real People.
Hi, welcome to Real People. I'm Stephanie Allensworth. I'm very excited about our guest today. She is a psychic medium and author, and the happy medium, Jodi Livon. Hi. Hi. Thanks so much for gracing our little studio here with your presence today.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm really excited.
Yeah, I love talking to you. You are the epitome of the happy medium. So, you know, you are smiley, bubbly all the time, and I think that's beautiful. So, so we're just going to talk today very conversationally about your life as a psychic medium and author, because you have 2 books and some fun things that you do, and you teach. You are a coach as well. So, but let's go to the Wayback Machine and start from childhood, okay? So tell us a little bit about your childhood.
Are you talking in utero, or are you talking?
Well,
I don't remember.
If you remember that, let's go for it.
So I grew up in a very conservative family. I'm Jewish. We were observant, relatively observant. And we have 4 kids. My family had 4 kids. I'm 3 of 4, and my dad worked. My mom stayed home, and she also did a lot of volunteer work, and it was a busy family. And I was a little bit of a firecracker. Because I was always feeling everything so big. Mediums feel things in bold. You know, it's this feeling, and it takes a long time to kind of get into that happy medium, if you will. So I was a busy kid, always climbing trees and playing with frogs and toads and talking to spirits. But I thought everybody did stuff like that. And I wasn't considering them ghosts. I was just thinking I was just talking to God, because I sometimes heard voices and got like nudges of things I should be doing, and I did them, and it was awesome. And it wasn't until I was probably just reaching my double digits that I realized, as I have something in my eye, that I realized that not everybody picked things up the way that I picked things up. Not everybody understood things the way I understood things. And I would say things and people would give me funny looks like, oh, that boy over there is just about to fall, and he'd fall. Or have you met the new neighbor? He spits a lot, and then he starts to spit. And people would look at me like, what is that about?
Yeah, like, how do you know that?
Right. Or I would talk about friends, you know, relatives that were on the other side, in heaven, if you will, however you want to say it, have transitioned.
Yeah.
And I get weird looks again. And my parents did not talk about it and was not overly welcome conversation.
Did they tell you not to?
Essentially, one of our family friends, a boy that was just a few years older than me, died unfortunately of leukemia. And you know, all of our family, of a huge family, went to, extended family also, went to the funeral. And that night, I think I must have been 13, 14, and I felt he was in the room, and I felt he was on the ceiling. And so I went downstairs and I said, Mom, Barry's in my room, he's on the ceiling. And she, may she rest in peace, said, no, he's not, go to bed. I'm on the phone. And you know, I think she was a little scared. So things like that would happen a lot, but I also had a lot of joy with it.
Yeah.
Because when you're intuitive and you understand, because everybody's intuitive, I'd connect with the trees, and I would connect with animals, and I would connect with everybody, especially older people.
Oh, wow. So go more into the trees and the animals, because I talk to trees. People think I'm a little nutty. I'm a tree hugger.
I'm literally a tree hugger.
I mean, I go to talk to them, and
it's like touching them cures a headache. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, I just feel very re-energized when I go hang with my trees.
I love the trees. Well, I feel like there's female and male trees, if you will. And I feel like that their energies, sometimes you can feel how healthy they are, and that they share it. And even just standing near it, so you're touching the roots, even though they're way below, I can feel that kind of energy. And I used to love to go climb trees and just sit in trees and just hang out in trees. I mean, I really felt like they were my friend, and I felt like I was being hugged by them. And you know, I mean, I haven't like researched a lot more about it, except for I love trees, I love animals, I love living creatures.
Yeah, I mean, you don't really have to research it, because you kind of already got it,
right?
You know, it's like
people like big facts.
Other people want to research it to find out and to get what you have. It's like, how do I get that?
That's a good point.
Yeah, I want that. I was never a very good climber, but I always loved trees, and I always loved being in nature. So let's let's talk about coming out of the psychic closet. When did you feel like it was okay to start talking about it, and your parents not trying to hush you down and all that?
Well, I never felt like it was okay for them.
Yeah.
I started to talk more about it when I was about 18. I got involved with a group of psychics, and I was probably one of the youngest ones, and I was on fire. I mean, they said, these are the cues, this is how you do this a little bit, and I know I had been doing it anyway, and things just would literally fall out of my mouth. Information would just pile on out, and it was very interesting. But then at a certain point, this will tell you how old I am. The Atlanta murders were going on, if you remember those.
The Green River?
Atlanta murders.
I don't remember those.
So there were children, this isn't a very happy topic, but there were children being hurt and worse. And it was on the news, and I wake up in the middle of the night knowing who was going to be hurt next, just knowing what they looked like.
Dear.
And so these psychics found out about it and try to sort of squeeze stuff out of me, and we actually worked with the police, and that shut me down. Because it was too much to see the face of a child. That shut me down. And the problem was, these psychics were great because they were into talking about it, and there was no shame, and it was interesting, and I learned so much, but nobody taught boundaries. Nobody taught how to help yourself kind of close it down a little bit so you don't pick things up all the time, and you don't hear people's thoughts and feel people's feelings, and know things that are none of your business, and whose business is whose business. And nobody talked about that, and it really made me feel like I was going nuts. So I tried to like close it all off, and then decided I can't. There's no shut off. It's who I am. And I have said this for a long time. It was either I would have my intuition or my intuition would have me. Yeah. So I wasn't one of those, oh, I'm interested, I want to learn. I was, I better learn about this because it's taking over. So I did a lot of good boundary work, and I went to therapy. I went to therapy, and that really helped too, to teach me boundaries. And then I started feeling even more comfortable coming out of the psychic closet. And I've worked with individuals for many years, actually a lot of businesses, for many, 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 many years. But it wasn't until all my kids were here and my husband was happy with what I was going to do. I mean, I think I would have done it even if he wasn't, but I probably wouldn't have married him if he wasn't happy about it. He encouraged me to really start doing the work more openly. And so I started saying, okay, I'm going to do that. And then I tried to get published in a magazine called The Rake, and I tried really, really hard. And I called them and said, how come you're not publishing my work? Because I'm a poet, and I just write about intuition. And they were so interested in what I did that they wrote an article about me. And then somebody from Llewellyn saw that and said, can you write? And I can. And I did, and I wrote my first in my series, The Happy Medium books, and then I came way out of the psychic closet.
Which one's the first? This one. Yeah, just going to
Awakening to your
put it up there for you to see.
So this one is about awakening and what happens and how you know you're sensitive and how you know you're psychic, because everybody is, but what are the cues, and what about the people that they're a little bit afraid about it, and how natural it is, and how it's a gift from the universe, i.e. God. And what you do with it is your gift back, and it's wonderful. And I talk about how that happens, and I talk about boundaries and ethics and coming out of the psychic closet, and there's a lot of readings in there that I've done in the first book.
I'll be buying that book. I have the other one.
And that one is how you put it to use. A lot of great exercises to put it to use.
I'm going to hold this one up too, so you can see it. So I hope my fingers aren't in the way. But we'll be giving you information on how to get those on screen too as we go. So, yeah. So you bring up another good question, because I was going to ask you, how did your husband feel about, when you first met him, and it's like, how do you break the news? Like,
did you ever see Bewitched when she told Darren she was a witch?
Absolutely.
So I'm not a witch, but it was similar to that, and he knew I was insightful, because I would say things, and he's insightful, and he'd see that I would say something and it would come to fruition, or I'd have a feeling about something and act a certain way so it came out even better, or show how much I love somebody and see how they changed just right in front of you, and their sadness slips away when you love somebody up. He'd see all that. So he was very encouraging, and he really, when I was offered the opportunity to write a book, he was incredibly encouraging for me to do that. Very on my side about it. And I mean, I even said to him before we got married, I said, this is really weird, I don't think I've ever said this in front of anybody, on or off camera. I said to him, how would you feel if everybody knew I was psychic, like people around us knew? He said, I wouldn't care. I said, what about if they knew I was a medium? He goes, that'd be great. And then I said, what would you do if I was on TV and the radio? And he said, that'd be fun. And this is long before I was on Twin Cities Live as their regular, as their
in-house
psychic or whatever. Resident psychic.
Resident psychic, right.
Psychic. Yeah, and I love it. But I mean, I asked him. It was really interesting. It was a bold move, but I felt like I need to ask him this. Not even thinking after like maybe I'll be on TV. It just kind of happened.
Yeah, well, it was meant to be, right? That's what happens. Well, that's awesome. You know, you got to have like somebody in your corner, especially in this business. So
he's definitely in my corner. He's a great guy.
Yeah. So you did talk a little bit about the other side. You know, you said whatever you want to call it, heaven or God or all of that. Can we talk about the other side a little bit?
Yeah.
Yes, let's go there. Let's go to the other side.
So it's so interesting because there's different names for the same thing. So what is that quote, a rose by any other name would smell as sweet?
Exactly.
So the other side would be considered heaven, in spirit. There's lots of different ways to say it. So when our body dies, we are released from it, and we all have this opportunity to go into the light. And you've heard about the light. I mean, everybody's heard about the light.
Yeah.
And when you go into the light, you're greeted actually as you're going by spirits that you know, by beings that you know. They're people. They know you know them, and you
relatives
love them, and you trust them.
Loved ones.
Yes. And so it's a wonderful, wonderful thing, and everybody gets to do it. There's some that stay here, and we can talk about that, but because they're afraid. But you go into the other side, and at that point, there's a lot of things that go on, but it's all good.
So is it like the movie Ghost, where the light comes down and all the little stars come trickling, and you see the other side, and because that's going to the good place, but then there's the bad place.
There's no bad place.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of different people that say there's a bad place and there's a good place, and then there's that place in the middle called purgatory.
So if you get afraid and you don't go into the light, you're always offered other opportunities. From what I've been told by those in spirit, you're always offered other opportunities. And I've also done ghost investigations with Twin Cities Live, and I've talked to those people or those spirits who are stuck here.
Yeah.
Is that if you stay, you might say that resembles purgatory, because you don't get to eat, you don't get to feel the sunlight, nobody really sees you, and there's a loneliness about it. That's why you get a lot of cold chills when you're around spirits that are earthbound, that are stuck for some reason. Again, not totally stuck, because they can go into the light, and there's opportunities for that to happen. But when we get to the other side, we get to see this giant screen of our life. We get to watch the movie of our life, and it's amazing. And all these ways that we loved people up, and all these ways that we did such mitzvahs, such good deeds.
They don't show you the bad stuff?
Well, wait.
Okay.
You get to see that, and you get to experience the joy that you brought other people through their eyes, through their perspective. How lovely is that?
That is fantastic.
And then the other part of that is you also experience things that you've done to people that haven't been kind, either consciously or unconsciously, it doesn't matter, through that person's eyes. That pain through that person's experience, and not as a punishment, but as to make your soul understand it more. And so some people might think that's a punishment. It's a learning thing, and you do it when you're ready. You don't have to do it. You do it when you're ready. And as a spirit, you want to grow.
Right.
So that's lovely. And then they get to come down. Spirits reach us through love. That's the slide. It's like a slide that has all love. They slide down through love, they lower their vibration, and they let us know they're here. And you don't need a medium to tell you this, because people experience this when they lose people. And so you get to feel that person's love, and you get to know that they're all right. And mostly what they want to say is, I'm all right.
Oh.
And I don't care who gets my jewelry.
Yeah.
I'm all right.
I don't care who gets my jewelry. I love that.
And that's lovely.
Yeah.
And it's lovely when it's a parent, you lose a parent. It's so sad. But I work with a lot of people who've lost children.
Yeah.
And for those children to bring through information that nobody else could ever possibly have had, ever. Things about what they wore, what they like to eat, what they did with their first tooth, strange things they'll tell me. And it's comforting to the parent.
That's beautiful. That's a beautiful gift that you can give to people, you know. And we should look at it like a gift. I mean, and I just want to bring this up. So obviously, you feel this is a gift from God, but there's many who would say they feel like it's a curse and they don't want this gift. They would rather have any other gift, please.
So it's an ability.
Yeah.
It is. It's everything. Everything is a gift, but this is an ability as much or more, because it's a double-edged sword, and that's why people say that. You have to know what to do with it. And you can, I know mediums that aren't practicing, and they know how, through working with me, how to tune it down so they're not constantly approached by people in spirit, by spirits. And there are people that don't get that kind of help or don't get any of it, and they're bombarded. We don't want anybody to be bombarded. You have to have boundaries. And one of the most important things, and I talk about it in both of my Happy Medium books, is boundaries about knowing where your space begins and where it ends. And so it's quieter. So if you know whose feelings are whose, and you're not taking on other people's feelings.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing. So sometimes people are sensitive, psychic, and they don't really want to activate it more, and that's all right. You get to do with it what you wish. It's a gift from God. It is a gift and an ability.
Yeah.
And you get to choose what you do with it. The only thing I would stand in the way of, if I could, is people using it on other people, because it is never to be used on other people, and it is never to be used for our benefit to hurt someone else.
Right.
It is a way of enhancing our lives, and it's a free and natural resource. And it's a wonderful thing, but there's that boomerang effect.
Right.
Because you do something to deliberately hurt somebody, whether it's with your intuitive abilities or your mathematical skills, and let me tell you something, it comes back to you and it ain't pretty.
Well, good thing I'm not that great at math. But no, I'm with you on that. I totally want to do, which is why part of this show is talking to people who do good things for other people for all the right reasons, and living in positivity and not negativity.
Which you do.
And I'm trying my best.
You do.
I'm working on it. And by bringing more people in and showing the audience that there is another way to live. You don't have to be in fear, and you don't have to be in coveting other people's things, you know, just live your life and do things that make you feel good and make other people feel good.
Well, and so that's interesting. If you don't, can I talk about my second book? So I have many other books that I've written 3/4 of the way, but this book, The Happy Medium, Speaking the Language of Intuition, kind of took me over in that I was going through a really sad funk. I had lost a very, very dear friend who was quite young to cancer, and we moved into a great place, and it was wonderful, but I was away from my other community. And it just shifted me, and I realized I was depressed. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've been depressed in many, many, many years, and I didn't even know it. And I am. So I got together all the stuff I had ever written about affirmations, really positive things to say to myself, and I started doing them. Like I was on a diet of positive words, and it worked. And I thought, oh, people should know about this, and that's why I wrote it, because it is the language of intuition that can help you in part out of your sadness. And there's other ways too. Obviously, I love therapy. I think it's great. I go for tune-ups whenever I need them. It's a wonderful thing. But you use your intuition to get those cues, and you get the best parking spot, the best jobs, the best food that isn't going to hurt your stomach. And the way to do it is to be happy and to think nice thoughts, and to think nice thoughts about other people, and to be in a happy space and do things that brings you joy, brings you joy. It puts you in a more intuitive place, and it's so fun. It's a double bonus, and that's the law of attraction, really.
Yeah. Well, and you also have these cards that are meant to go on a doorknob or something, where they're like what you would see at a do not disturb, but this one is
I'm not disturbed.
I'm not disturbed. These are like I'm dancing with my shadows, and they're all inspirational little flashcard kind of things. So so those are one of your creations as well, so kudos on that. Just really awesome. But I know I want to give you an opportunity real quick. I mean, we're not wrapping up or anything, but for you to be able to just talk a bit about your website and how people can find you, and what you have to offer there as far as your coaching as well.
Sure. So I'm an intuitive coach, so I'm a corporate psychic. I work with people, I work with medium and small companies. I've worked with large, but mostly it's medium and large or small companies, helping people that run the company learn to use their own intuition and their own insight. Because if you ask any successful business owner, they are going to tell you they use their intuition. They might call it instinct. They might call it gut, but they're using intuition for sure. So it's at theintuitivecoach.com. And on that, there's a Q&A, lots of questions and answers about me and my work. I do work with people privately. There's an opportunity to schedule appointments. It's all online that you schedule. I work with people via Skype, on the telephone, and in person. My office is in Wayzata. And when people make an appointment, that's when I share where that information is. And I've got free intuition boosting downloads that I send to people. So you can sign up for that. And I blog. And this is pretty funny because a lot of people look at my blog, but not a lot of people have signed up for it. And I think it's because I don't know how to make the button work. So I blog about things that people are feeling. I blog about Mars going retrograde. I blog about how you feel about a parent that you really didn't get along with most of your life dying, and what that process might be like, or what is it like to feel a spirit. And I do a lot of speaking engagements. I'm also on Twin Cities Live. So I'm on Twin Cities Live at least once a month, and that's also on my website. As I said, they're resident psychic. And I do speaking engagements here in the Twin Cities, and I do them outside of the Twin Cities as well. Actually, I've done them in lots of different places. But I have one coming up in August on the 16th, a big speaking engagements, and some other smaller ones as well. So in Golden Valley, that one is.
Okay, and all of this can be found on your website, right?
All of it. And I do gallery-style readings. You probably know what that is.
Well, I was at one.
Oh, that's right, you were. Yes, you were. I think here.
Yeah, down in the Center for the Arts.
Great place.
Yeah, there's good energy in this place.
And I'm also on Twitter. Do you guys do Twitter? I love Twitter.
I do Twitter, but my Real People show doesn't do Twitter just yet, but we're getting
Facebook
there.
Is awesome.
Yeah.
I love Facebook, and I've seen you do posting on Facebook, correct? Yeah, you're great at that. Yeah, I love Facebook. I think social media is like everything else. Take the good part of it and enjoy it and fly with it and make it a good thing.
Yeah, I need to blog more, and I know for myself that's coming. I might have to hire a company to do it for me, do my blogs.
No, you do them. That's what's fun about them. You get to see the personality. You've got a great personality. Blog yourself.
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm actually a little bit shy on camera, but so for the whole FaceTime videos and stuff, I feel like I'm stumbling, and
Really?
Yeah, I know. But I'm trying to get my feet a little wet in that department.
So this is my understanding. Yeah. I was surprised that I was as well received on TV, and I've been on different shows as well. And the reason I say I'm well received is obviously I'm still on, but I guess your personality, people like to see it.
Yeah.
And I have a big personality, and so do you. So you don't have to worry about stumbling over your words because nobody cares. They just like to see the light in you.
Oh, well, that's wonderful. I'll do a little more of that then, and yeah. So, but this isn't about me. This is about you. So. And I know you've got your books, but let's talk about advice for people that are like not sure what to do. Is this real? Am I really getting these feelings? Am I, sometimes people think it's in their own head, like, you probably didn't feel that way, but people thought, whoa, what's going on with Jodi, Well,
people told me it was in my head.
Yeah, well, see, and so then you start to question yourself when you start start getting messages, and it's like, okay, is this me, or am I doing this right, or what, So what's your advice for helping people grow in their own security of this business?
The biggest thing is to understand how you feel, because your feelings truly are the wings of your intuition. So you have to know how you feel. And a lot of people hide things from themselves or don't want to know certain things about how they feel because there's so much pain. When you work through that, then you know how you feel. So the biggest thing is to know how you feel. The next thing is to have some boundaries and know that if you sit next to somebody and they're joyful and you feel joyful, you're picking that up. If you sit next to somebody else and you feel sad all of a sudden, that's not you, that's them. Or if somebody says to you, you have to do this or I'm going to be really mad at you and you're going to make me sad and I'll hurt myself, that's bad boundaries on their part. So you just have to have really good boundaries. That's the biggest thing. And then start testing it. So if you get a hunch that you and your friend are going to get the best place in the movie theater next to some very cute guys, just keep it to yourself and sit down and see if it works. Text yourself. And then after the movie, look at your text and see how accurate you were. And it's not really a test. It's just a way to build it up. Because the more you acknowledge your insights, the bigger they get. And the happier you are, the more joyful and honest you are with yourself, the more insights you get too.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I test myself at elevator banks. It's like
Awesome.
I go in and I'm like, it's like immediately when I walk into a bank of elevators, I'm like, this one will go. And a lot of times they're bright, and sometimes I'm not.
And that's all right.
I just say, oh, I'm having an off day.
Right, but you literally have to know how you feel. So this isn't just about, am I happy or sad? Like when you're standing in front of that elevator bank and you have a feeling it's gonna start at 6 and come down, this out of 12 elevators, this is the one that's gonna come, concentrate on how you feel inside when you're feeling that. And then let's say that happens and you try it again and you get that same feeling. That's your intuitive yes. So you pay attention to that, and that helps you grow your intuition. It tends to be kind of a bubbly feeling and a knowing
When you
feeling.
get the yes,
and then
in
a
your
no,
solar plexus.
and the no is more of a drop. But you have to know
Okay.
how that feels to you personally.
Yeah, and it's not just something you ate.
No,
Yeah.
no.
You know, I'm just having fun with it.
No, but people actually, people do, they suspect that all these little things don't mean anything. So let's just say you're feeling like somebody that you love that crossed over years ago you're thinking of this guy, and he's used to smoke, and he smoked a certain kind of cigarette, and it was clove. And you keep smelling clove, and you keep thinking about his sense of humor and how well you got along with him, how well your husband got along with him, and lo and behold, what you find out is the anniversary of his death. And it is
right.
him.
Yeah.
And so isn't that joyful to think, oh my gosh, she came to say hi.
Yeah.
That's a wonderful thing. You see,
Yeah.
that's wonderful. That's a gift. That's nothing negative.
Yeah, yeah, I love it when they come by to say hi. I have quite a few that talk to me, and I talk back to them, even out loud sometimes. Sometimes my husband will be like, what? What, are you talking to me over there?
They
It's
can
like,
hear
"No."
you, even if you don't talk out loud. They can hear you. You can have a full-blown conversation with them, and they'll flash pictures in your head, and you probably have seen that.
Yeah. I have like the knowing thing. I just kind of know things before.
Wonderful.
Which is
a slow knowing, like you just know.
Yeah. Or I'll just blurt something out, and it's like, I don't even know how I knew that. It just came out, you know. So I've been
The drop-in insight.
Yeah, I love talking to you because you know, not only are you joyful and happy about it all, but you've got a really great outlook, and a half hour goes so fast here, honey. Give me your hands. I love you.
I love
Thanks
you
so
too.
much for
Thank
coming
you.
by.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining us today on Real People. I'm Stephanie Allensworth, sitting here with the happy medium, Jodi Livon. And until next time, thank you.